Since April 8th was a double-day show, the other show that I saw was Rocktopia at the Broadway Theater at 7 p.m. This show runs about approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes with a 15-minute intermission. The show is a concept of Rob Evan and Randall Craig Fleischer that combines classic rock like The Who, Led Zeppelin, and Queen with classical and romantic composers like Beethoven, Mozart, and Puccini. Main singers include Rob Evans, Chloe Lowry, Dustin Braley, who stood in for Tony Vincent, Kimberly Nicole, and opera singer Alison Cambridge with special guest singer Pat Monahan, lead singer of Train. The show that I saw was his last night at Rocktopia. The rest included the New York Contemporary Choir and Orchestra, drummer Alex Alexander, bassist Matt Fields, pianist Henry Aronson, violinist Monterey Nesbitt of Celtic Woman fame, and guitarist Tony Bruno. Since this show was basically a crossover concert, this review will be a little different. I will go over some of the positives of the show and some of the negatives. What I liked was Chloe and Kimberly. What powerhouse singers, especially Chloe's cover of Foreigner's I Want to Know What Love Is, and Kimberly's cover of Patti Smith's Because the Night, which I didn't actually realize Patti Smith was the original singer for the song. I'm just used to the 10,000 Maniacs cover. And when Chloe and Kimberly got to sing Hearts Alone together, just straight up chills. Who knew Pat Monahan could cover Led Zeppelin flawlessly? I was so worried about this because everyone tries to imitate Robert Plant when covering this band, and he didn't, thank God. Also, he sang opera rather well for like a pop singer. Just awesome. Also, when Pat got to sing one of his biggest hits from Train, Drops of Jupiter, hello, Nostalgia Trip. Other songs I loved was their cover, like the whole entire group's cover of Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall, and how Tchaikovsky's Romeo and Juliet Fantasy Overture blended in with Aerosmith's Dream On. Everyone involved looked like they were having a fantastic time covering these songs. The orchestrations for this show were really beautiful and really well done. Myra just jamming out so hard on the violin. I know some people on the reviews didn't like that. I did. It was just great to see her just going out there having a good time. Audience participation I really liked. They were having people clap. They were having people doing this in the air, They were trying to get everyone motivated for the show. Or as they said, it's a classical revolution. Honestly, I had no problem with the screen projections. I know some people did. It was like any other standard rock concert when it came to this. When I saw The Who in 2008, they did the exact same thing, like just projections of different images and stock photos and this and that. It's just become standard with rock and roll bands now, so I didn't see any negative about it. Speaking of negatives, here are things that I did not like. I honestly felt that Rob Evan and Dustin Braley were the weakest of singers, especially Rob. He would sing well for some songs and others his voice would just sound very weak. It didn't sound like he was giving it his all when he should. I honestly feel bad saying this as this is Rob's show and concept, but I'm being honest here. The opera songs did not go well with any of the classic rock songs. It honestly clashed really bad. Like, for example, Handel's Lascia Chio Pianga. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I probably am. And Elton John's Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. And Puccini's Quando Me Vo and the Beatles' Something. Just very distracting, and it didn't go well. And honestly, I thought the cover of Something was okay. And that tends to be a problem when people cover this song. I don't know why no one can cover this song right. Not even my fave singer, Raul Esparza. He couldn't cover, especially towards the end. I don't know why. It's just like a difficult song when it shouldn't be. Just something to put out. Just something to note. I do agree with a lot of reviewers that the show should not be on Broadway. It doesn't have a Broadway feel. It feels like it's just a concert. They don't misrepresent the show as being a Broadway show. They do say it is a concert, and they do put videos out on it that it is. But why it's on Broadway, I don't know. Maybe to be something different. If it was on like off Broadway or off Broadway, it would be more fitting there. But It is what it is. Other things to note for this show. Where I was sitting was rear mez, and it was practically empty. And as a matter of fact, the row I was sitting in, there was like a family that was there, and they brought camping gear. Don't ask me why they did that. And then for some reason, they didn't want to sit where they were sitting. I mean, I thought my view was fine. I don't think they liked their view at all, and they just up and left before the show started. I saw a lot of things that would not fly in a regular Broadway show, such as picture taking and video recording while the show was going on. Honestly, people treated this show like it was an outdoor concert. The show really didn't care. Like, there was ushers there that were like, whatever. It really felt more like a concert, and that's how it was treated but in other Broadway shows, do not do this. You will get kicked out, or you'll have ushers telling you to delete or whatever. Just don't do it. This show was just an exception. Also, it was kind of weird attending a show that was just very empty, and I actually felt very bad. It wasn't that it was an awful show. It was an okay show, but it was like almost like Walking Dead empty. Although I didn't see any, I wouldn't bring young kids to this concert just because of what they're presenting. They might not know the music from, the 1970s and 1980s, and also, classical music. They might not understand it or get it. If you have older kids who are into classic rock, they may enjoy this, and it may be a good way to introduce them to Baroque, classical, and Romance era songs. Now for the stage door report. It's sort of hard to judge this stage door just because it was so cold out, and because so many of the stars of the show were rushing home because of it. I did see some of these singers sign and take photos towards the front of the stage door, but when they got towards the back, they just rushed home. They didn't even really greet anybody except for like one of them when somebody said hi, and they said hi and they just went. Again, it was cold out, and I totally understand people wanting to go home because of that. Also, the crowd of the stage door was pretty nice and chill, and I really do appreciate that. And I did get to talk to a few people, like random people. It was just nice. We had to wait, and the stage door manager did let us know we had to wait like 30 to 45 minutes, which actually isn't that long for a stage door for like the really main people. And that was just to meet Pat Monahan. And he actually did come out and he met people, including myself, and I got a picture with him up here. And he did sign my playbill right here. And he also signed it with Train, which the writing kind of got screwed up a little bit. That's okay. And he totally epically trolled me because I was telling him how much his music meant to me, and I was like, oh man, you were totally part of my high school and, also junior high too, to go really back, playlist. And he goes, man, you look really good for 50. Just because I was literally the youngest people there, and everyone else around me was like in their 50s and 60s. And I was honestly dying. That was just such a great joke. And I honestly shook his hand because it was a fun stage door experience, and it was fun to meet him. He was totally nice. He was totally jokey. He was having a good time. Because it was his last night there, he was, taking more of his time to greet everyone, take photos and everything else. Thanks so much, Pat. I wish I was kind of going to the show now because Dee Snider is there from Twisted Sister, and I really want to meet this guy. He is so awesome. I used to listen to his radio show all the time, but I got to do my job and make more money and visit more shows like this. Overall, I would rate Rocktopia a 70 out of 100. It felt like it was a C- show. See it if you like experimental theater, if you like both classical and classic rock music, if you like any of the singers and anyone playing the instruments participating in this show. Don't see it if you're expecting a show with any sort of plot or a Broadway show in general. It's not that kind of show. If you cringe at bad theater audience etiquette, I would not go to this show. As of right now, Dee Snider of Twisted Sister, like I mentioned before, is a guest singer until the 15th, and Robin Zander of Cheap Trick will start his debut on the 23rd and close out the show on the 29th. I feel like my rating would be higher for this show if they cut the opera stuff out or if they arranged them better and they got better male singers who could rock as hard as women and Pat did. I would only recommend really seeing the show if you don't have any other show to go to or really huge fan of the singers and the other people I mentioned. If this is not your thing, skip it. Thank you so much for watching this review of Rocktopia. Stay tuned for more. I do have a review of St. Jones in the works. Bye!